Hi, welcome back. Sometimes it seems like the Savior's greatest blessings are just hiding in plain sight. Now, on the heels of our great worldwide general conference, we're going to look at one aspect of that. And for the moment, we're going to go back to the New Testament and see what the Savior's example was. In Matthew, we can read the following. And when he was coming to Jerusalem, all the city was moved, and the multitude said, "This is Jesus the prophet." They recognized his authority. And Jesus went into the temple of God. Now, remember, he's been teaching the people out of boats, on hillsides, in private homes, and in the synagogues throughout the land. But here, when he comes to Jerusalem, he makes a beeline for his house, for the temple. This is the example of Christ, remember. He goes straight to the temple and says the following. He said unto them, "It is written, my house shall be called a house of prayer. And the blind and the lame came unto him, and he healed them." This is one thing that's occurring in the temple. Christ is appearing there. He is magnifying himself there. He is healing the people there of their infirmities. That's Matthew. Let's see what Mark has to say. And they came to Jerusalem again, and Jesus went into the temple. He taught, saying, "My house will be called a house of prayer to the nations, all nations." But the scribes and the chief priests heard this, and they feared him. Why? Because all the people were astonished at his doctrine. So he goes to the temple. He recognizes and honors the temple. He heals there. He teaches doctrine there. This is where you can learn doctrine, in the temple. Going to Mark and Luke, he went into the temple. He began to cast them out that sold therein, and those that bought. He's cleansing the temple. He says unto them, "It's written, my house is a house of prayer," and he taught daily in the temple. This wasn't a one-off performance. This was an ongoing example to his disciples. That not only do you learn in your homes, like we have home-centered church, not only do you learn out in the fields, on the hillsides, from boats, in private homes, in your synagogues, the people of the covenant, the people of faith, also have a dedicated, sanctified house of the Lord in which they can be healed and learn doctrine and be taught. So, after the resurrection, after the crucifixion, what happened with Christ's apostles in this regard? We can read about that in Acts. Acts chapter 5. The apostles were being persecuted. They were being thrown in jail. And they laid their hands upon the apostles and put them in the common prison. But the angel of the Lord by night opened the prison doors, brought them forth, and said, "Go stand and speak in the temple, and tell the people all the words of life." And when they heard that, they entered into the temple early in the morning and taught. So the apostles carried on the perfect example of Jesus Christ. Now, it's interesting that the mainstream majority of Christians no longer embrace temple worship or temple service. Think of the blessings that you receive by doing that. And this is the message from President Nelson in conference. This is how he ended the Sunday morning session. He said, "Now's the time to implement extraordinary measures to strengthen your personal spiritual foundation. The temple lies at the center of this strengthening faith and spiritual fortitude, because everything taught in the temple increases your understanding of Jesus Christ. The safest place to be spiritually is living inside your temple covenants." That's how we ended the Sunday morning session. Sunday afternoon session, nothing invites the Spirit more than fixing your focus on Jesus Christ. President Nelson counseled, "Please make time for the Lord in his temple, his holy house. Nothing will strengthen you spiritually more than temple service and temple worship." So let's try and see that our blessings are hiding in plain sight. Let's try and emphasize to our friends what temple service is all about. Let's try and recognize in our own lives the blessings of the temple and what goes on in the temple. The healing, the doctrine, the teaching, the Spirit. Hope you'll see us again soon on Reapproaching Christ here on Jesus is the Christ.